It was a routine flight. A young soldier, barely in his 20s, had hitched a ride on a Douglas AD bomber. It wasn't part of his assignment, just a favor, a convenient lift to get from one place to another. The bomber sliced through the sky over the Pacific, its engine humming steadily. He had done plenty of flying before, though never in circumstances quite like this. It wasn't his first time trusting his life to a machine, nor would it be his last, attested. But then something went wrong. A quick glance between the pilot and co-pilot, the steady hum of the engine wavered. The young soldier noticed the shift in their expressions, concern morphing into alarm. "We're out of fuel," the pilot said grimly. There was no time for questions, no time for debate. The aircraft was going down and fast. Cold water slammed into his body as he plunged into the Pacific. The shock stole his breath, the dark abyss swallowing the plane behind him. The pilot had managed to eject just in time, but now they were adrift in a vast, merciless sea. The coast was there, distant but visible. A mile, maybe more. The young soldier knew the odds weren't in their favor. The frigid waters sapped strength. The waves were relentless, and the shadows beneath the surface hinted at dangers unseen. "We swim!" the pilot gasped. No other way. He had no intention of dying that day. With each stroke his arms burned, his legs ached, the salt stung his eyes, the cold gnawed at his limbs, and yet he pressed on. Halfway through, a dorsal fin cut through the water a few yards away. He refused to panic. Panic meant drowning. Instead he focused on his breathing, his movements steady and determined. The shore was getting closer. His limbs felt like lead, but he forced himself onward. He could hear the waves crashing against the jagged rocks now. Nista stuttered. And then land. He dragged himself onto the sand, gasping, shivering. The pilot collapsed beside him, alive, but barely. They had made it. Somehow, against all odds, they had survived. Decades passed. The young soldier became a man, and the man became something else entirely. He learned the art of storytelling, of capturing fear and triumph on film. Years later he would find himself directing a movie about another pilot in distress, a pilot forced to make an impossible decision, a pilot who put his trust in the sea and came out alive. Nista stuttered, and when people asked him how he captured the terror, the tension, the sheer will to survive, he would smile and say, "Because I've been there." And now you know the rest of the story. Nista stuttered, because the young soldier who swam for his life that day, his name was Clint Eastwood.